Once upon a time, there was a man named James. He was a kind and honest man who loved his wife, Emma, very much. They lived in a small house at the edge of the town. James worked as a carpenter, and Emma worked at a small bakery. They had been married for 5 years and had no children yet, but they were happy and hoped to have a family soon. James loved Emma more than anything in the world. He always came home early to help her around the house and surprise her with small gifts. Emma was also very kind, and they shared many happy moments together. They would laugh, talk about their day, and dream of their future. Life was peaceful, and James thought that nothing could break their happiness. But one day, everything changed. James came home earlier than usual from work. He was excited because he had bought Emma a beautiful necklace as a surprise. He couldn't wait to see the smile on her face. However, when he entered their home, he heard voices coming from the bedroom. He quietly went to the door and peeked inside. To his shock, Emma was not alone. She was in the arms of another man. James felt like the world had suddenly stopped. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. His heart felt heavy, and his hands shook as he held the necklace in his hand. Emma saw him standing at the door, and her face turned pale. "James, I can explain," Emma said softly, but James couldn't speak. His mouth was dry, and tears started to fall from his eyes. Emma quickly got up and went to him. "Please, James, don't be angry. It's not what it looks like. I didn't mean to hurt you." But James couldn't believe her words. He felt like his heart had been broken into 1,000,000 pieces. How could Emma do this to him? How could the woman he loved betray him? "How long?" James asked, his voice trembling. "How long have you been seeing him?" Emma looked down, unable to answer. The silence was enough. James turned and walked out of the house, leaving Emma standing there with tears in her eyes. He couldn't stay there anymore. He needed to think, to understand what had happened. James walked for hours. The pain in his chest was unbearable. He couldn't stop crying. He had given Emma everything. He had trusted her with his heart, and now it felt like his world was falling apart. How could she cheat on him? Why? As he walked through the streets, memories of happier times filled his mind. He remembered their wedding day, when Emma had smiled at him and said, "I will love you forever." He remembered their first date, the way they laughed together. But now, all of that seemed like a lie. James felt lost. He didn't know what to do. He wanted answers, but he didn't know if Emma could give him any. He walked to a park and sat on a bench. He looked at the sky, hoping to find some peace. But there was no peace. His heart ached with the thought of Emma with someone else. Hours passed, and James returned home. The house was quiet. He didn't know what he should say to Emma. He was confused, hurt, and angry. When he entered the house, Emma was sitting on the couch, crying. She looked up at him with a sad face. "I'm sorry, James," she said. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I was wrong. I don't know what happened to me. I love you, but I made a terrible mistake. Please forgive me." James stood there, not knowing what to say. He loved Emma, but he was also very hurt. He didn't know if he could trust her again. "How can I forgive you?" he asked quietly. "How can I forget what I saw? You broke my heart." Emma stood up and went to him. She reached out to touch his arm. "Please, James, please don't leave me. I made a mistake, and I am sorry. I will do anything to make it right. I promise I will never see him again." James shook his head. "I don't know, Emma. I don't know if I can trust you anymore." The next few days were very hard for both of them. James felt sad and confused. He couldn't stop thinking about what had happened. Emma tried to talk to him, but he was too hurt to listen. He didn't want to talk. He didn't want to be near her. One evening, Emma asked him, "James, do you still love me?" James looked at her and didn't know how to answer. He wanted to say highs, but the pain in his heart made it hard to speak. He loved her, but he didn't know if he could ever feel the same way again. "I don't know," he said softly. "I'm so hurt, Emma." Emma started crying. "Please, James, I love you. I don't want to lose you." James sat down, and for the first time, he really thought about what had happened. He thought about the good times they had shared and the love they once had. He thought about how much he had trusted Emma and how broken that trust was now. After a long time, he said, "I don't know if I can ever forget what you did, but I can try. I can try to forgive you. If you are really sorry, and if you promise never to hurt me again." Emma wiped away her tears and nodded. "I promise, James. I will never hurt you again. I will work hard to show you that I love you, and I am truly sorry." James looked at her. He could see the pain in her eyes. He could see that she was truly sorry, but he also knew that it would take time for the trust to heal. It wouldn't be easy. It might never be the same, but he was willing to try. "I need time," he said. "I need time to heal, and I need time to forgive you." Emma nodded. "I understand, James. I will wait for you. I will do whatever it takes to make things right." And so, James and Emma began to rebuild their life together. It wasn't easy and it wasn't quick. James still felt the pain in his heart, but he was willing to try. They went to therapy together, and slowly they began to talk more and listen to each other. Emma worked hard to show James that she was sorry, and over time, James began to trust her again. It was a long journey, but they both learned something important. Love is not always perfect, and sometimes people make mistakes. But with love, patience, and forgiveness, it is possible to heal even the deepest wounds. James and Emma never forgot the hurt, but they found a way to move forward together. Their love was not the same as before, but it was still strong, and it was enough.